Hello, everyone. So we are live and we are here with the final analysis, the comprehensive analysis, so to say. And we are going to discuss all the three slots, how it went and how it compared with each other. So let's begin. Uh, Jijo, you were in slot two. Nikunj and I were in slot one. Even Ravi was in slot one. I think someone from slot three will join us. एक बहुत कॉमन क्वेश्चन आया है एंड आई थिंक निकुंज वाज आल्सो डिस्कसिंग दैट while back. Was this paper easy or not? Because and this is what I've been seeing in the chat in various different platforms also. So let's go one by one on this. Was this paper easy? Compared to 24, 23, yes, but let's just pull it
I
out.
think after a couple of years, we got a very good feel factor. So there was a feel good factor in the test, definitely. So none of the sections appeared very difficult, would have really kind of dampened the morale of the students. The flow was nice, and LRDI, especially, I think after all those difficult years of LRDI, I think this year that was a very welcome relief for the students, especially the graph-based questions are very easy. So quant also much better than last time. So overall, yes, I would even go ahead and say might be easier than 22.
So,
Somewhere
Nikunj,
between 21 and
I had
22.
I had joked in one of the sessions before CAT that the worst thing CAT could do, or IIM Calcutta could do, is make everything too easy. It was not too easy, but it would be a surprise because students
So,
हर साल expect कर रहे हैं कि it will become more and more difficult.
so,
So
so,
I think
so,
that's a
so, so
good way to.
the way in which I look at it, no, it's an irrelevant question completely. Right, whether a paper is easy or difficult, how does it matter, right? The question is that did we do better than the rest of the gang, right? Now, if you ask me objectively, was the paper easy or difficult? It's very difficult to say. I don't know what benchmark I want to put. If I want to put sort of if I look at what verbal was as usual stuff. No, I think the only thing that people would have felt at this point in time, verbal to be a little more easier to navigate, is because the passage were not so painful to read. But I'm sure that when students went to the questions, they had the same problem like any sort of test. The VA, to take advantage of VA, somebody had to put effort on VA to take the advantage eventually on VA. So overall, if I look at the English, I believe that it will be probably very similar to what we would have seen in the last sort of 3 years, right? So it was a DLR story. I think DLR um quite a lot of set one could do within the 10-minute time. So when one started solving the set, they could kind of do the set. So it would have been the people who had kept a little open mind in terms of not having a fixed target in terms of how many set to do would have navigated that particular section really well. But I'm 100% sure there'll be many would have thought that two sets is enough to get whatever percentile and stopped at two set or planned accordingly as a two set. I'm sure. But those who had said open mind would have gone there. And when it come to at least in slot number two, when I looked at so when I went into slot number two, I had already heard about slot number one, what Ravi and GB was saying. Then maths is like kya hai maths types. So I was expecting that. I'm looking at each of these um, uh, questions on algebra. It's like it didn't look like that. It's like magajmari karna hai sab jagah pe. Okay, so every single question it was like ugly looking questions, forcing me to do a lot of hard work in each of these math questions. There were obviously quite a lot. There were about 6-7 questions that you could do, 4-5 questions that you could do by Jugaad, but I don't think it was an easy going. So if I were to compare at least slot number two, the slot that I saw, when it comes to verbal, it was probably very similar to what I've seen in the last 3 years, maybe very close to 2021. LRDI or DLR would have been slightly different in the sense that this was a paper where people could have attempted more than what they usually attempt to, and the math was probably slightly more easier than last year, but definitely not as easy as what slot one people are saying. So this sort of my sense of how the paper was.
Great. Ravi?
Yeah, I think, see, I have seen lesser faces that looked glum today after the exam than they looked last year, right? If CAT was a fabric company, I would this time it was breathable, right? I mean, ऐसा कुछ बहुत ये नहीं था कि But the point being, Cecil, that if the price has increased in the market, सब चीज का price बढ़ रहा है और सबके पास पैसा भी ज्यादा है, so it doesn't make sense, no? So
Doesn't
it
make
was
it.
not
It's all
a paper that will separate. मतलब लास्ट ईयर कैसा था कि सब टफ था, इस साल सब कंपैरेटिवली थोड़ा सा इजी था, तो एवरेज अटेम्प्ट्स विल हैव इंक्रीज्ड, राइट? एवरेज नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन पीपल फेल्ट कंफर्टेबल हैव इंक्रीज्ड. इट्स लाइक ऐसा नहीं था कि डीआईएलआर में भी ऐसा 2 3 4 लेवल का जो डीआई होता है या एलआर होता है, विच आर प्रॉबेबली अ टॉपर कैन क्रैक, the set that sets the topper apart from everyone else. वो वाला सीन मेरे को थोड़ा सा कम लगा. That distinction, I mean, you could have done some part of every question that was there. So
right.
overall feel wise, I felt very very comfortable than I felt over the last couple of years, at least over the last matlab, after having taken CAT 2023. Anyone who has taken CAT 2023 and 24, it is like Kohli scoring a century today in Perth. उनको लगेगा हाँ अच्छा फील करेगा, उसके वजह से क्या होगा मैच में या फिर वो किसी को फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, बट दे विल फील दैट ओके दे हैव डन अ बेटर जॉब दिस टाइम अराउंड इन द कैट.
मुझे इसमें लगता है कि आई थिंक दिस इज अ ब्यूटीफुल पेपर for the simple reason that you will see a far better normal curve in this paper than the paper that we have seen in the past. So from a perspective, you will see people who have done one set, you will see people who have done 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets. That was not the case last year. Similarly, I think quant में शायद थोड़ा quant में 20-22 करने वाले भी मिलेंगे इस बार. So in that sense, I think it's a I think it's a far better paper that will give you a very good normal curve compared to all the papers that I've seen in the, at least definitely last year. Last year was a Raddi paper.
Correct.
So that's my feel of this. Feeling
Yes,
good
yes.
wala na,
ये
people are
ये
at different points in time.
ये शिवको ऐसे सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर टू आई एम कलकत्ता है ना शिवको
No. Yeah, I am Calcutta will do this paper. I think it is all bullshit. I
At
am
least
telling you,
वो
I am Calcutta. I think it's all
at least वो
bullshit.
मेरे को बस्ट हो गया है कि आई एम कलकत्ता है तो पेपर बहुत मुश्किल होगा क्वांट डीआईएलआर का.
लोग कुछ भी
एंड
बोल
ये
रहे थे.
slot 2 का क्वांट थोड़ा मुश्किल था, but that was not the case for slot 1 and 3. And yes, and जो शिपू कह रहा है, I think at least from my slot when I talk about it, slot 2 was a paper in which you had to judiciously keep leaving question in DILR. मुश्किल था लेकिन उसमें सवाल छोड़ते जाओगे तो बहुत आसान था. Same thing in quant. So it was more about picking the right questions and not being too worried about कि ये सवाल आता है नहीं हो रहा है. And I agree with Shivku. Ultimately, a very difficult paper is a very stupid paper. A very easy paper is an equally stupid paper. This paper was much more balanced in terms of you had questions which everyone could do. You have questions which some people will be able to do. So the normal curve will be much better, and there'll be a better, let's say, it be able to differentiate students better.
The interesting part, पता है क्या है?
So already
2017 was a sitter of a paper where quant में 99 was at 78 marks, something like that.
Yeah.
2018 I am Calcutta came. Right after
Yeah.
that, stupid easy के बाद I am Calcutta. And now 2023 stupid difficult के बाद again I am Calcutta. so stupid paper अगर आता है उसके next year I am Calcutta आता है. Enjoy. ये take away है.
ये outlier है, इसका मतलब outlier है.
But one thing that I would like to add here, just one thing overall is, I think overall perspective se today is a nice day. India has done very well in BGT. The first test is hopefully in the kitty. The CAT paper, I'm quite sure students would have come out of the hall feeling good. Feeling good. ये नहीं पता कि मेरा 99 आएगा, 90 आएगा, 95 आएगा, 85 आएगा, 80, नो आइडिया. आई फेल्ट गुड. जितना मुझे लगता था मॉक्स में मिल रहा है, जितना मुझे लगता था मुझे आता है, उतना या तो आ गया या उससे ज्यादा आ गया. It's not going to be a feel of पता नहीं है मेरे साथ क्या हो गया, God knows. And third, good auction going on as well. Rishabh Pant has got 27 crores. So overall, nice day overall. and this is a nice way to kind of end it all. So yeah, over to you, back to you, Cecil.
Yeah, so I was asking the previous question. Okay, GP already touched the one point. So someone is asking which slot was the hardest. I think we could just quickly take it up because hardest बोल के hardest कुछ नहीं था, लेकिन slot 2 seemed like a little slightly difficult one because of quant specifically. So let's stay on that for a minute and move on.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to judge which VRC slot was easy or difficult. Very difficult to judge. So at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to how the options were created. Na? Okay, so it's sort of so if we look at across the number of easy question, difficult question, hard question, VRC very difficult to judge. So we'll have to wait and see in terms of how it came about. Everybody seemed to suggest that the passage was sort of easy to read and stuff. So there was not one slot which said that was very difficult, very easy. So VRC more or less going to be very similar. DLR, I think the story was also similar. I think that slot number 1 was saying that every single set was sort of doable. At least in slot number 2 and slot number 3, there were discussion with regards to the fact that there was at least one or two sets which is little bit of struggle. You can't do all the 5 questions. I believe that with DLR, slot 2 and slot 3 will be comparatively on the same level than slot number 1. And QA, I think the biggest pain discussion happened in slot number 2. I think slot number 3 was very mixed. I don't know. People are not. I didn't get it. I didn't get a judge in terms of this. So it seems to be that for QA, slot number 2 would have been slightly sort of higher, maybe slot number 3 than slot number 1. It is usually that slot number 1 gets scaled up. Usually, I think that this time around, I think stories would be slightly different. But I don't think the scaling up is. I think QA would be a. I've not seen obviously slot number 1 question, but from whatever discussed. So for example, what saw was somebody was saying that last year this gentleman got 99.9 percentile, right, and about 9 to something. Last year he attempted 13 questions in slot number in the CAT to get that percentile. This year the gentleman slot number 2 attempted 16 questions. So it was kind of the 3 to 4 more questions than sort of last year. So I don't think it's so. I think therefore comparatively overall, if you look at, I think the slot number 2 would have been comparatively hardest among the 3 is what my take. I don't know. Somebody else has another opinion, but that's what I could gather.
The data is backing what you're saying, Jijo. If we look at the data that we've collated as of now, overall, if I just talk about it overall, I won't go section by section, but overall, if you're looking at it, it seems slot 2 was almost about 1 question overall, which means about 3.5 marks more difficult than slot 1, and slot 3 and slot 1 seem to be the same overall. Obviously, one section will be slightly tougher, one section will be easier, but overall that is what it seems like, which means slot 2 probably about 3.5 marks tougher than both slot 1 and slot 3 is what data suggests as of now. Would urge more and more students to fill it in so that we can come up with a slightly better and more accurate analysis.
Slot 3 usually gets that mark down thing, no? So thoda sa slot 3 could be a bit of a challenge this time because looks like it is on the simpler side compared to slot 2. So that could be a slight paradoxical.
Yeah.
I think slot 3 के साथ I think last couple of years also this has happened कि on the looks जब पहला impression आता है then we see that but when the response sheets come out slot 3 suddenly surprises कि अरे VR से किसी से हो ही नहीं रहा था इस पेपर में उन्होंने attempt कर दिया. For the last 2 years they have been doing this.
But 1 and 3 same in terms of quant feedback.
Yeah, this is a shout out to Shivku and team Nikunj once. Grateful to CL for the questions. Very good quality questions in mocks and sectionals. I think kudos, great work done. And I think a couple of students just pointed out that even the candlestick set from slot 1 was, I think, in our sectionals. Very, very similar set was in our sectionals.
In my slot, a couple of students talked to me about how DLR sectionals help them to get used to the 5 set setup. And I think we've said this before. Kudos to the team who's been prompt in doing that.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think in fact the day that official mock on the CAT website came, I think I commend Shipku's guts also. Saying that that day itself we said no, I'm going to do 6 new sectionals and I'm going to give that 22 question field. You never know what can happen to the cat, and I think a great decision.
Yeah, I think two of those we did that 5-5-4-4-4.
Yes.
Yeah, we did that.
Thanks for the shout out. I don't know, Kit Kat. I don't know whether normally you will turn in 24 or less. All cat surprised you. I don't know. That
Perfect. Jijo, shout out to you as well. A lot of students calling out VARC 1000 and the fact that it helped them. So yeah, kudos for that.
When will DM 1000 start? कहीं किसी का आ गया है.
आएगा.
एक हफ्ता, 1 week. Next Monday.
आज का दिन चैन से सो जाओ.
हाँ.
फिर कर लेना तैयारी.
हाँ. ठीक है.
So let's begin with the analysis in terms of the deck that we have. So straight away, let's get into the overall analysis. What was the overall structure of CAT 2024? We know it. There were changes. We've discussed this, but just to summarize quickly, 22 questions in DILR, 68 questions overall, 2 more questions, 20 questions which were TETA. So I think that was how the structure was. We did not see para jumbles in this one, and we saw 5 sets in DILR. So these were the major changes that happened in CAT. They are not major changes basically. They were something which we have seen over the different mocks that we've had. And GP just mentioned in one of the sessions before कि जब बच्चे बोलते हैं ना कि ये CAT जैसा mock नहीं था या whatever, when they discuss, when they say whatever they say. So CAT का कोई level ही नहीं है. CAT का कोई एक level नहीं है. I mean, I'm so sorry. CAT का कोई एक level नहीं है. So basically, we have varied experiences, and this is an example. So yeah. Okay, Shruti says because of CL mocks, CAT seemed like another flexi. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to cover all of this comparison of CAT 24 across with 23, 22, and 21, and the expected percentile section wise and slot wise. So let's quickly get into it. Wow, a lot of kudos to.
This is too much. This is too much DI, Sajil.
This looks like opinion poll ना. Axis सबका opinion poll लग रहा है मुझे.
हाँ, but इसमें I think वो simple चीज ही रखनी चाहिए. Look at the first row, VARC. Look at the last 3 columns. ठीक है. So I think वहीं पे देखना है. Slot 3, slot 2, slot 1. Look at the last 3 columns. Roughly almost the same level, 1 mark here or there. So which is what is the feeling that all the 3 slots are roughly the same level of difficulty in the section VRC, and same thing in DILR also. So DILR, the only way difference could be in slot 1 you could do a complete set. In slot 2 you had to, within a set you could leave a couple of questions and move to the next set. But overall, in terms of the number of questions that you'll end up attempting will be something similar. And similarly for slot 3 also. The only major difference seems to be in quantitative aptitude, where slot 2 you will probably attempt 1 question less as compared to slot 1 and half a question less as compared to slot 3. So थोड़ा gradation उसमें दिखता है, but बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है. And the end of the day, as Gautam had earlier said, that the difference is just about 1 question. So if you look at the overall score, देखते हैं, slot 1 and slot 3 are likely to be 99 percentile at 90, 92, like an average of 91 marks. And slot 2 is likely to be about 88. So the difference is net 1 question. Well, 3 marks looks big. Ultimately, we are talking about a difference of 1 question over a paper which has 68 questions. So there's a negligible difference. And that will easily be taken care of by the normalization process which will be there.
Anyone gets a raw score of 90, let us say there are 3 students getting raw score of 90, 1 in slot 1, 1 in slot 2, and 1 in slot 3. Almost, I mean, average मान के चलते हैं, तीनों section में similar types, मतलब good across all the sections, and a raw score of 90. Then the person in slot 2 will get the best percentile, followed by the person in slot 3, followed by the person in slot 1, because the low scoring section of quant में आगे जो डिफरेंस है उसके वजह से स्केलिंग थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा मिलेगा उनको, और हायर स्कोरिंग सेक्शन में वर्बल में जो डिफरेंस 2 मार्क का जो एडवांटेज स्लॉट 1 को मिलेगा वो थोड़ा कम है. So in that sense, slot 3 at the same mark level, slot 2 at the same number of marks, raw marks, slot 2 person will be at the first, slot 3, followed by slot 3, followed by slot 1, according to the data that we have received so far. ठीक है,
So far.
ऐसा नहीं है,
So
ये
far,
कोई पर्सपेक्टिव नहीं है, right? So that's what the data suggests as of now.
Right?
Yeah. Let's move to the next
The
slide.
comparison. Yeah, so this is a comparison of 21, 22, 23, and 24. And this is how we see the cutoffs to pan out.
And again, look at only the last 4 columns. Last
It's
4
not
columns on the right.
sorry,
पहले
this is
वाले
not
3 4 को छोड़ सकते हो.
sorry, this is not cut off. No, this is 99%. No, cut off will be like 70%, 80%. Right?
हाँ,
This is-
these are 99 percentile scores.
Somebody was asking, no, Story Hub is saying, what do you mean by ideal attempt? Is it equivalent to 99%?
Ideal attempt should be 22, 22. What else?
Yeah.
It's not 24. What's the ideal?
Ideal has to be 100%. Na?
Ideal is utopian.
I went for the
Right.
ideal attempt, but quant had my number on it.
They're different ideas.
Quant had different ideas.
to the
So
hardcore DI side.
this is I would like to say something to the students here, that this is based on a lot of data and our estimate of how it will go hence, right? So and more or less we've seen every year that this we are very close to what happens. So let's hope that happens this time around too, because it is based on data estimates. So yeah, what are the comments here? In terms of the percentile, the score
Just state,
going up.
I'll just state one or two things here, Sazil. I think
Yeah.
important from students' perspective is to look at 2 to 3 things. Number one, sectional cutoff for most colleges will be around 80 percentile, other than Lucknow, which will be at around 85 percentile. So this should give you a good idea. In case one particular section hasn't gone off too well, there were a few students stating, sir, मेरा DILR and quant अच्छा गया, verbal नहीं गया, मेरा verbal and quant अच्छा गया, DILR नहीं गया. This should give you a rough idea of 80 percentile कहाँ होगा. Rough idea. I will once again repeat. And that will hopefully help you understand, whether you are knocking on the door of a 99 or not. This is predominantly from the perspective of, 22-23 versus this year. And as you can see, if you look at VARC 80th percentile, we are saying if you are somewhere between 22 to 24, you have a good chance of clearing the cutoffs, sectional cutoffs. Last year also, if we start looking at it from raw data perspective, the raw data cutoff for an 80 percentile was about 24, 25. For a difficult slot, it would have been about 19, 20. For an easier slot, about 24. Net, it was about 22. So if you're scoring anywhere in the vicinity of 22 to 24, sectional should happen, which means automatically, if you've done well in the other 2 sections, you have a chance of getting calls from top B schools. So that's how you should interpret this data. Similarly for DILR and quant. So that's it in terms of interpretation. Over to the panel.
One more thing to add here. We have not added CAT 21 data here. In fact, we should and we will. So this one has been closest to CAT 21 in the past 4 years, right? So we can take it as that also. So that's one more takeaway. Yeah. Here it is.
Correct. Across the 3 sections, on roughly it is closer to CAT 2021. But I think people who have prepared with the perspective कि मुझे मतलब if you are very good at VRC and probably good at DI quant also, but DILR नहीं बन रहा था. People who went in with mindset to solve about at least 4 to 5 questions to get their sectional cutoffs cleared. I think getting those 5 to 6 questions in this DILR paper was not difficult. The same was true for QA. QA maybe, over the last couple of years, the sectional cutoff, the 80th percentile cutoff has fallen over the last 2 years. I think this year it will be revived by a question or by a mark or 2. That's what this entire thing suggests also. So
I think here the sectional cutoff will not become a major challenge this time for the students.
Right.
because one very tough section always creates that challenge.
Yeah.
So I think in this year, overall cutoff थोड़ा सा stringent होगा obviously because of all the three sections becoming slightly easier, but sectional में शायद उतना fight नहीं आना चाहिए.
Mhm.
Correct.
But actually, I mean, logically, मतलब sectional cutoff means that I still have to be the top 20% of the people taking the test, no, irrespective of whether the paper is easy, medium, or difficult. So whatever the challenge was last year is going to remain. I'm just saying it is. But those students who are clearing two sectional cutoff and not clearing the third one is very unlikely. It's probably what
The total will not add up.
Nikuj was saying, no? So it'll be, so if let's say you end up clearing two sectional cutoff, very likely you're going to clear the third one. But I'm sure that sort of challenge will I mean, yeah. So we'll have to, yeah. So you obviously have to take this in pinch of salt. This is obviously based on the data and all the data that we got and the discussion that we had and the feedback that we got from the students. I believe a far better story is going to come out once the response sheet come. So we would obviously encourage you to upload your response sheet to the CL website. And over the years, we have been the best predictor in terms of the score once we have the data, response data, because that is very, very important. The results will come out in for last week,
January.
first week of Jan, and the call will come out after 1 week. So you just won't have time to start prepping. So it's sort of very so. This is to just give an idea in terms of to give you a peace of mind in terms of today. But I think that as soon as the response sheet comes, it's your responsibility to upload the response sheet onto our website. We'll give you the link, and we'll give a prediction, and so that you can clearly look at what is the next course of action that you take. So that's something that I really want to encourage you guys to do. Right? Yeah.
I think those days when the response sheet comes out, I think Susie is the hottest person on the floor. Oh, no.
Yeah. So
I mean, he may take his own sweet time, but the kind of predictions that he makes, God, for the last 3-4 years, it has been
Yeah,
on.
Ravi, I've observed this, and I'm not going to name, but couple of people come out, वो छाती ठोक के पहले कि हम पहले निकल गए हैं, but then they turn out to be wrong, and then they end up changing their data. You've seen that happening in the past couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
That's what it seems like from a cutoff perspective. Over to you, Sazil.
yeah, so what to do now? If you've not checked your scores yet, check your score calculator. Use the score calculator and check your scores. If you check your scores, you can get an idea about where you could lie in terms of percentile, and that's an idea you could get for the future, not to get affected, not to get depressed, but to understand what to do next. So if we find out that we've done good, great, start working on other exams, start working on PDP mainly, and other exams are also waiting out there. Those of you who feel you have not done that great as expected also should basically, so here it is.
Yeah, so
So
sorry, sir. So just to say, the PDP is a name that we use for our program, which is
yeah,
personal development
GDPI
program.
prep.
For all of you, it is like the next stage, which is the WAT, which is the writing assessment test, the personal review preparation phase. Our program is called personal development program. So when we say PDP, what we are actually saying is prepare for the second phase. That's
Sorry, Jijo, I just missed that.
yeah.
It's
So,
the day and
given
day how
that
to use
SNAP
the
and
name. So
NMAT are
Yeah.
on
So
the easier side,
I'm saying this happened to me. I was meeting some of my friends. I said, Jijo, what do you do? So I said, I teach RC. What do you mean you teach RC? Royal Challenge. How are you teaching RC? Yeah. Then I realized that I use RC so often. I thought everybody knows what RC means. Turn out that's not the case. So,
Actually, Jijo, you could.
But exactly, you're the old monk. You could teach RC.
yeah. So I think one of the
SNAP or
things that is
NMAT prep, I think, is the key now. Because
what
especially with CAT maths थोड़ा easier side था, so I believe the NMAT snap momentum will be easier to build up, because usually the very difficult CAT paper to move to that mindset of 1 minute per question in snap is not very easy. That perspective, I think that shift that mindset shift here will not be that challenging.
I mean,
Okay,
irrespective. Sorry,
just go back to the
just one second.
previous.
No, just one second. One thing I want to say is, irrespective of whatever you feel about CAT, right? I think that is going to be some happiness, sadness, whatever feeling is going to happen in the next coming week. Irrespective of whatever, please remember that there are still good exams left. One very important exam is that, right? That get access to one of the top B schools and some of the very good B schools in this country, irrespective whether the CAT is good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. And I'm sure that as it's very, very important to prepare, and preparing for that, you will see that there is not a huge jump that you have to take. There are the few adjustment that you'll have to make. That as a paper is, I think, over the years, the last few years, that is fine. Then you've got NMAT to take. Step to say while and then the peer preparation happens. So while you're thinking that at this point in time everything is over, so what you will have to face sort of two challenges. One is your emotional sort of roller coaster that might happen post the result, but it's very, very important that you keep the focus to ensure that whatever preparation that you're doing, you do well for the next stage. I think that the month of December, it's going to be very different compared to all the months that you had, because you'll come to know what is Soviet CAD. You've got other exams that's coming up and stuff. So I really encourage you to get, get hold and ensure that you focus on the task at hand. Okay, sorry, I just want to say that. Yeah.
And yeah, in the same vein, I want to say this. मैं भी यही बोल रहा था कि वो लास्ट में दिख रहा ना, गिव अ ट्राई नेक्स्ट ईयर, उसको अभी इग्नोर करो, ठीक है? यू हैव नॉन कैट एग्जाम्स टू ट्राई फॉर, एंड देन वील सी व्हाट टू डू, right? So you will get a call. Some people just prematurely think and call नहीं आएगा और अभी से डिप्रेस होकर बैठ जाते हैं and then end up getting a call. So if you fill the right forms, you will get the calls. So please make sure you don't give up as yet. Yeah, same thing.
And one more thing, that just one thing I want to add to what Jijo and Fazil have said. Not satisfactory, below expectation, you will get to know only once the response sheet comes out. Till then, until unless you have really messed up the paper, you should not think too much about it. Ki paper kharab hua, jo hua, and keep your focus on SNAP, NMAT, and most importantly, that, as Jijo said. And just to repeat what Fazil said, give again next year. Abhi sochna hi nahi hai. That is a decision you have to take end of January or beginning February after that results come out. Till then, it has to be इसी साल करना है. अगले साल की बात अभी नहीं करनी है. Don't even worry about next year for the next couple of months at least.
In fact, JP sir, I think not satisfactory or below expectation, that is something you'll get to know only after the calls of the colleges are rolled out.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, not even the response.
Because ultimately, पुरानी कहानी भी तो है.
Right. So irrespective of how your CAT went today, if you feel that you have hit it absolutely out of the park, even then take a day's break and come and prepare for that and continue preparing for that and SNAP if you have filled forms for those, and try to give your best in that also. You can have two types of problems. One is कि कुछ नहीं निकल रहा और अगले साल रिपीट करना है. दूसरा कि मैंने सब इतना जबरदस्त कर दिया कि now I get to choose which college to go. The second problem is a better problem to have. So give your best in all the papers. Even if you अगर आज ये पेपर अच्छा नहीं गया, then even then take one day's break at max and come back to track and tell yourself that you want to try better in the next exam that you're going to take. But each of the exams, treat them equally. Give your best in the exam. बाकी रिजल्ट में क्या होता है, पेपर कैसा आता है, वो बात की बात.
Well, Ravitesh, why take a break? It's like one mock you've taken na, on the Sunday, right? So I think that, why are we taking break? I think that we'll have to keep fighting. But there is
break बनता है जी, जो एक दिन तो सोना बनता है. अगर लेना चाहते हो ठीक है.
There's no need. Break from what?
Just to confirm, that की date अभी open है ना? I think that last date is 30th of November. 30th November. So those of you have not applied for that, please do so immediately. XLRI Jamshedpur as well as XLRI NCR are terrific colleges. XLRI Jamshedpur would be at par with IIM ABCL, and XLRI the NCR, the placements are almost the same as that of XLRI Jamshedpur. In the worst case, you will tag it to a level of maybe IFT Delhi, आई एम इंदौर MDI उस लेवल पे तो या उससे ऊपर ही लेके चलोगे.
And other thing about XLR is that if you clear the sectional cutoff, you're getting a call. The 10th mark, 12th mark, gender, winter, वो सब नहीं है उधर. Okay, you get a call. You clear the cutoff, you're getting a call.
Fluid
So,
gender.
so there are so this like
The only
अच्छा, अभी
thing
हम
that
जो
is
बात कर रहे हैं,
the only thing that is disappointing for me about that is GK. But don't worry, we are
अभी
here
नहीं
to
है ना?
help you with that as
नहीं
well.
नहीं
इस साल
है
GK हटा दिया.
नहीं
जीके है
जीके तो है.
बट कंसिडर नहीं हो. जीके है
जी
ऐसे-
ऐसे
नहीं है.
ऐसे नहीं है.
ऐसे नहीं.
ऐसे नहीं
ऐसे
है.
नहीं. हाँ, तो
GK है.
GK तो है. GK
या.
XLR है तो कंसिडर करेगा ना ड्यूरिंग द
No,
PI.
but रवि, उसमें GK में 2 सवाल क्रिकेट के होंगे, 2 सवाल फिल्म्स के होंगे. ये 4 तो तू कर ही लेगा. ये 4
बस
कर
वो
लेगा
नहीं.
तो 85 80 परसेंटाइल आ जाएगा.
जीके में माय फेवरेट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन इज वो जिसमें मैच द फॉलोइंग होता है. मेरे को एक का
बट
पेयर
टेंशन
पता
क्या
हो
है?
तो वो
जीके कर लो. देयर इज नो नेगेटिव मार्किंग.
First of all,
It is like end mat.
So, Ravi, but the concept of GK is very in which case na for the next stage, which is PI. मतलब वैसे में मुझे GK करना ही पड़ेगा ना. I think that I think the whole idea that I am immune to GK and only CAT doesn't test GK. You know the kind of question they ask in the interview process. No, forget GK. People have to prepare whole graduation once again. Right? So for the kind of question that happens here. So and in which case for the XLRA, GK is only going to happen in the second stage, and we don't know how much weightage it has, but only going to come in the second stage of process. But I think everybody should blindly apply, irrespective of whatever they feel about CAT. They should apply to that. That is very important, like GP said.
And
I think
people
plays
think
very smart.
XLRI is only for about PM program, the HR program. Well, I think that's the furthest from truth. You know, a
Correct.
lot of people come thinking, oh, XLRI, I don't want to do HR. I think the normal MBA program is as good as ABCL. So I
I'll
think
actually go one step ahead, Shivku. There are many students who feel they don't want to do HR and they don't apply for HR, Excel HR. I would say even that is stupidity. Because if you have a look at it, you have a look at the placement report, you will realize students in HR can end up with product roles. So you can go into an Amazon, you can go into a Flipkart, you can go into Google, Microsoft, they recruit as well. And HR students are eligible for that. So just because you apply to Excel HR doesn't mean your career will be in HR. So it
a
goes
lot of
both
people,
ways.
a lot of people end up with consults also.
So
Marketing.
if you just look at the story of any MBA person in life, eventually they're going to be CEO and stuff, na. So this whole specialization is very start. Eventually, you will get exposure to sort of multi for functions, multiple roles as you progress in your career. I think the most important thing is to get into a good school. Well, forget what you're doing. I did information technology in IIM Calcutta. I did maximum course. I have not touched computer in my life. उसके बाद.
I think the last 2 to 3 minutes was absolute cinema. We saw 3 people who are alumni of IIM Calcutta, the arch rivals of Excel, stand for Excel. Blood भर जाते हैं Excel and Joker.
While on campus, the story is different. It's like while on the cricket field, India Australia story is different.
Yeah.
Outside the story is different.
Just a word of advice to students: अगर आप ZAT भर रहे हो तो don't forget to tick the 2 Excel boxes there.
Yeah, all box.
Then you
Don't
can't-
think only.
Then you can't fill Excel later.
Whatever is the tick, whichever you want to apply everything. First you click, then think.
Yeah. I repeat, apply to both
And
HR and DM.
one other thing that
Also good.
one other thing people need to also understand is about Snap. Snap has got some 17 colleges. Okay, and if somebody wants to do an MBA, just want to do MBA from a symbiosis college, take Snap, you'll get some college. So this is it's that particular. I don't know how many programs it has. It has got so many programs. That not every college is equally good, but the point is that there is these. Those of you who really want to do an MBA this year, these are exams, and the Snap NMAT gives you choices of good set of colleges, and then ZAT of course gives you the top colleges. So that story you must always remember that it's still there. Okay, so.
ये मोक्षित बात्रा, ये तुम्हारा इंफॉर्मेशन कहाँ से है? XLRA has no finance electives or placements at all.
What is this?
ये बहुत ज्यादा कंफ्यूज है मोक्षित।
हाँ।
मोक्षित एक्सेल फाइनेंस बहुत अच्छा है वो, ठीक है, लोगों को बहुत गलतफहमी होती है।
Well, first of all, even if Excel doesn't have any finance elective, who cares? I think that just doesn't make any sense only.
Yeah.
I have seen something about finance. Everybody. I've seen many people join B school thinking I want to do finance. After 2-3 courses of finance, they decide, nahi, I will do something else.
गलती हो गई।
What people eventually do in life has got like nothing to do with what they're actually doing. Okay. Some timeline ahead. What is the timeline? Timeline is very, very simple. Timeline karte hain. So at this point in time, timeline is very, very simple. At this point in time, we are starting preparing for extra exam that you're taking from today. From today. Okay, ZAT, NMAT, whatever. So ordinary what you want to do is that the ZAT maths will be very similar to CAT maths. ZAT is also very reasoning heavy paper in VR verbal. That they just have 4 questions of grammar and vocabulary, but remaining 22 questions is still comprehension based. They have got paragraph jumble, reading comprehension, couple of poem comprehension, and sort of critical reasoning question. You have done all those for CAT, so it's very easy to sort of align yourself to that. There's a decision making that probably will have to think differently, but it's not very difficult. Then you have story, so you figure out a plan in terms of immediately. So my suggestion would be to take a ZAT paper, the last year paper or something, look at one NMAT, the mock, take one snap if you're taking those tests to understand what is your timeline. Then the next phase is that in the first week of December, I believe, that or anytime soon, the response sheet comes out. The response sheet is going to give you a far better perspective in terms of where you stand today. So based on the response sheet and the likely percentile that we are predicting for you, then you have to immediately decide on how to take care of your second stage of preparation, which is your preparation for PI, personal interview and what. Please remember that the preparation, that there is that syllabus, at least CAT has got only 3 subjects. That is like very, really vast. There are lot many effort that you'll have to put in, right, for your second stage of preparation. If you get a call, you better convert the call. Getting a call and not converting is horrible. You spend all this for bloody 6-7 months sitting and preparing for the CAT, and then getting a call and not convert just doesn't make any sense. So if you got a chance of, that you're going to get calls, I believe that by January immediately you have to start thinking about those preparation that will continue throughout. So it's sort of your, so in that you'll have to plan something, you'll keep continuing, and then your the ZAT is going to be the first week of Jan, right? First week of Jan, right? Yeah.
Yep.
First Sunday of Jan. 5th Jan
I
is.
think from a QA perspective, PermCom and probability perhaps becomes more important suddenly in Snap and NMAT. So I think that's one area where students should quickly go a little deeper into that chapter, because usually for CAT we don't give that much of importance to those chapters. So from other arithmetic algebra remains similar, but I think PermCom probability you get a lot of questions in NMAT and Snap on them. So
correct.
Even numbers
to go through the NMAT analysis. We have the NMAT analysis which was taken on the 10th of November, and they'll have a look at permutation, combination, probability plus numbers. Combination of these 3 topics was 15 questions. So in total there were 36 questions in quant plus DI. 15 questions came from these 3 topics, which is something that students generally do not concentrate too much on. Geometry ekdam hi nahi tha, for example. There were 0 questions from geometry. So these would become important topics that you should have a look at. And a lot of you all are asking about how you can kickstart your preparation. Couple of things that I would recommend is, we've taken a lot of sessions like 30 days to Snap, which is available on our YouTube channel. We've taken the NMAT analysis and 30 days to NMAT, available on our YouTube channel. We are going to have a session tomorrow on CAT is over, what next as well. So please attend these sessions. There are a lot of resources regarding the OMETs or the non-CAT exams already on our YouTube channel. We've had a last lap to NMAT series as well. Please go through those sessions so that you're a little aware of how you can kickstart your preparation.
And apart from that, the online classes and the test series for the other exams, OMETs, as you say, are already on. So yeah.
Correct. So in case you feel that you need a little bit, you need some more resources, you need a little bit more help with respect to this, we've got Snap online classes and ZAT online classes. The intro sessions are happening. Tomorrow is for the Snap online classes. You'll catch me on Friday for the ZAT online classes as well. So you can just go ahead and, be a part of this as well in case you feel that there is a need for it.
Best way
Yes,
to
Ashok.
best way to know whether you have a need for it or not is open that last 2 years papers and try to solve it. You will understand whether you actually have a need for it or not, because that is a very different exam from what what CAT is and what you have prepared for so far, because of that section of decision making.
Yeah.
And even the sectional time limit and also that में mocks लिखना is very very important. वो हाथ बैठना बहुत जरूरी है in that.
और सडनली सेक्शनल टाइम लिमिट से हट के करना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
And answering Ashok's
Comprehensive
question
mock
here,
test will have
comprehensive
that,
material will get that mocks, yes.
if you've taken the MBA comprehensive, yes. If you've
MBA
taken the
comprehensive.
CAT comprehensive, obviously no.
Yeah.
And I think along with all of this, I'll also point out that in case you're one of those who knows that there's a good chance you're going to score 80 plus, 90 plus, this might be the right time for you to kickstart your GDPR, which is a PDP preparation as well, like Jijo, Sazil and others were pointing out, because trust me, that in itself is going to take its own sweet time. It will take you a couple of months. There's a lot that you will need to do in terms of revising what you've done in your undergrads, because you'll have to revise that from an academic perspective. Secondly, also getting a clear-cut picture about what you want to present regarding yourself in front of the interviewers. More importantly, getting to know a little bit more about your own self, because more often than not, we know a lot about others, we judge a lot when it comes to others, but when it comes to our own selves, we've not really introspected too much. And this is a course that will ensure that you go a little deep down into who you are as a person and get a little bit more of an understanding and are able to present the nuances of your profile in a slightly better manner. So that is something that you can also go ahead and have a look at.
The longer you have lived, the larger the syllabus of GDPI preparation.
Can we buy only ZAT mocks? Definitely, Ravi Teja, we can. We can. You can go and buy ZAT mocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
We just shared a link for the mocks. Have a look at it.
Yeah, and DM1000, Atul, there's a program called DM1000, which will be available next week. 1st of December.
And there's also ZAT online classes, which will include DM, as a part of it as well, along with the other sections. So you could even look at that as a comprehensive program in case you feel that will help you.
Jijo sir, will you take VRC classes, sessions for ZAT and VRC 1000?
Yeah. I'm starting this Friday. First live session.
Last year, Jyotika, the response sheet came on 5th December.
Actually, last year, I think it came out on the 29th of November, 3 days after CAT. The year before was 5th December.
उससे पहले 2 साल 8 दिसंबर को आया था. 2 continuous years
Last
was 8
year,
years.
26th को CAT हुआ था. And I think 29th or 30th, the response sheet was out within 3 to 4 days.
30th, I think it was 30th, and the results came out also, I think, 3rd week of December last time.
Yeah, they were out before Christmas. Everything was out.
21st or 22nd ko it was.
Correct.
Guys, so one small suggestion: when your response sheet is out, look out for the answer key, look out for the solution of the questions, and look out whether all the questions discussed in the solution for the slot match the questions in your response sheet. There was an instance this year where one student had got one particular question different from all others who have taken that paper, and he didn't realize क्योंकि उसने कहीं किसी का आंसर की या सॉल्यूशन ही नहीं देखा था, राइट? सो सॉल्यूशन देख लो, पढ़ लो, मेहनत है थोड़ा सा.
I think that's about it. We'll catch you all tomorrow for a what after CAT session on YT. Help you all out a little bit with respect to the timeline that some of you all were talking about. But that's it for now. All the very best. I hope CAT went well for you all. Irrespective of how it went, have a good night's sleep, rest a little, and get back to to preparation, get back into your pro mode from tomorrow. At max अगर जरूरत है कल ऑफ ले लेना, BGT देख लेना. Hopefully India will wrap up the first test tomorrow by 3 p.m.
और कल रात को जो बात किया था, सिस्टम फाड़ देंगे, आज नहीं तो नेक्स्ट एग्जाम में सिस्टम फाड़ देंगे.
Absolutely.
ठीक है, चलो then.
So
Good
that's it.
night, all the best.
Yeah.
Let's close.
Good night. Bye bye, guys.